Chapter 37. Ready. Crunching metal and shattering glass along with the boom of an explosion loud enough to make Sky's ears hurt had her scrambling for the car door handle, Jessie right behind her. No. Back in the truck. You stay in this car. Sky told him, pushing him onto the seat with one hand. I want to see. Jessie's eyes lit up with excitement. Even from here, the flames were visible, and he was eager for a closer look. No. I said no. Well, what if they are coming for us? And you leave me here and... Sky huffed. Oh my, Jessie. Fine. But you stay right by me, you hear? Jessie nodded several times. Sky grabbed hold of his shirt. She would take no chances with him. Cautiously, Sky and Jessie rounded the curve to see Dylan and Wade looking gleefully over the hill at the blaze. The tension in Sky eased, and when Jessie struggled to break away, she let him. Dylan. Jessie said as he raced to the coals. When Dylan turned toward Jessie, his expression changed, and he waved Jessie back. I wanna see, Jessie said. Nah, Jessie, not today. Dylan corralled the boy as he tried to peer over the side of the road. Wade and Dylan started up the hill, dragging Jessie along with them. Sky met the three on their way up the street. Dylan? What's wrong? Dylan frowned and shook his head. Ain't nothing wrong. We just need to go. But what happened? Nothin'. Sky raised an eyebrow at Dylan. He nodded at Jessie, who he was still half dragging up the road. We'll talk about it later. When Sky opened her mouth, Dylan repeated, his voice stern, later. Okay. Sky lowered her head and rolled her eyes. He hadn't even known what she was going to say. Jessie didn't give up though. Oh, come on, that's not fair. I just want to see. Not this time, buddy, Dylan said. I'll blow something else up for you. Come on, Jessie, Wade said, let's go back to the pickup now. Dylan let the boy loose so he could follow Wade, and chuckled as Jessie jabbered a long list of everything he would like to blow up someday. Once Jessie was out of earshot, Sky sent a questioning glance to Dylan. When he didn't respond other than a shake of his head, she jabbed him in the arm. He rubbed the spot. I hate being poked. So I heard. I hate being treated like a child. Dylan snorted. Okay. That's fair. He glanced up at Jessie and lowered his voice. It was Frankie. Sky stopped and placed a hand on her chest. Are you kidding me? Dylan stared at Sky, gauging her reaction to the news before shaking his head and studying the pavement. No. With wide eyes, Sky looked at Dylan, unable to believe what he told her. Her gaze turned to the forest-covered hills, over the valley and back to Dylan as she thought about the situation. Then she asked, what was he doing? Dylan pressed his lips together a couple times. Following us. Probably trying to see where we live. Oh no. Dylan, what if he finds us? I was hoping. Well, I know it's horrible, but I was hoping he'd gotten the AG flu. Dylan's mouth twisted. Weren't we all? How did he look? Healthy, but still beat up. Think he'd learn. Sky waved toward the fire. What happened there? Dylan pointed to the edge of the roadway. He ran down the side of the mountain, and we pushed his car over. Sky raised her eyebrows. You threw a car at him? When Dylan looked down and scraped his foot along the road, she asked, you couldn't have just taken the keys? A bit of red colored Dylan's cheeks. Wade's way was more fun. Sky blinked a couple times and crossed her arms. Figures we have him to thank for this. Hey, I was all for it too. Sky frowned. Why was it that big of an explosion? Seems like he had a surprise for us in the trunk. Sky started walking again. This is horrible. I don't like this, I really don't. I thought he'd just give up. Dylan laid a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, Sky. He will now. Sky stared up at Dylan. I don't want anything happening to Jesse, to any of us. Dylan gave her a solemn nod. I know. Me either, and to get Jesse away from Wade would be like wrestling a bear. Sky chuckled even as tears flooded her eyes. She glanced down. Hey. Dylan put a finger to Sky's jaw and tipped her face to his. Jesse's okay. We're okay, and we're staying that way. Frankie's got a long walk back, and that's if he's in decent condition. I'll radio Tom, and he can keep an eye open for him. His calloused thumb wiped away an escaped tear. Sky caught Dylan's hand and laid her cheek to it. Thank you. Dylan's gaze met Sky's and held hers, refusing to let go. He raised his other hand and lightly ran it down her hair only to tangle his fingers at its edge. Sky's heart thumped. Almost all rational thought left her as she held Dylan's intense dark blue gaze. The world around them disappeared as Sky set her palm on Dylan's chest and felt the hard strum of his heart beneath it. With a gentle tug on the hair he held, Dylan drew Sky to him. Her knees weakened, but she managed a tiny step forward. It was enough. Her eyes on his, Sky slowly gathered his t-shirt into her fist. Dylan's heart quickened beneath her hand, and Sky's throat went dry for a moment. She swallowed. Dylan's gaze questioned Sky. He gave her time, and she took it, still returning his intense gaze. Then she wavered. Sky looked at the trees, Dylan's face, the road, Dylan's lips, soon anywhere but him. Dylan tugged on Sky's hair again, and her gaze shot back to him. Hey, it's okay, he whispered. Come here. Sky fell into Dylan's arms. A kiss she couldn't do yet, but this was perfect. I'm sorry. I'm just not ready yet. It's fine. I'll be here. And he would be. When Dylan said he'd do something, he would do it. He'd be there for her, not rushing, not pushing, letting her have the time she needed. Sky nodded and closed her eyes, listening to his steady heart, as Dylan's powerful arms sheltered her. The blare of the truck's horn startled Sky. When she jumped, Dylan chuckled. He looked down at her. I guess they're getting impatient. Sky looked up at him. Hungry, more like it. Neither one can go more than a couple hours without eating. Well, a couple hours is a long time, Dylan said as he pinched a little of Sky's hair between two fingers, followed it down to her shoulder and let go. Come on. Dylan ran a palm down Sky's arm and folded his calloused fingers around her smooth ones. She squeezed Dylan's hand and gave him a shy smile. When they reached the pickup, Dylan opened the door. Get on up there, woman. Yeah, what took you so long? Jesse said, we're hungry. We need you to make us food. Sky let out a sharp laugh. Everyone in this truck is more than capable of making their own food. I'm not the maid. I don't take orders. Dylan settled himself into the driver's seat. Yeah, you could work on that a bit. Sky's amusement grew. I could work on that? With a serious frown, Dylan nodded. Yeah, like when I say something, you hop to it. I'm not a rabbit. The only place I'll hop to anything is in your dreams. Sky shoved back in her seat and watched Dylan's eyes track her. Yeah, apparently. You've made that clear. Dylan held his tough demeanor for a moment before letting a slight smile curve the side of his mouth. Something else to add to them. Sky giggled and held Dylan's gaze in the mirror, a twinkle in her eye. How about you listen to me for once? Sky smirked. Take me home, tough guy. Dylan winked at Sky. Yes, ma'am. This is the end of Sanctuary's Aggression Book 2, The Road. Book 3 will be coming to YouTube soon. Subscribe so you don't miss it. To purchase ebooks or paperbacks of the Sanctuary's Aggression series, visit Amazon.com and search for Maira Dawn books. Or go to www.mairadon.com.